Hello everyone and welcome back to Everything Reddit. Today we'll be taking another dive into AskReddit, more specifically on the most interesting stories of child geniuses explained by teachers. Before we get started with the video, if you guys enjoy this type of content and would like to see more, please leave a like on the video and maybe even subscribe. Anyways, let's get rolling. One of my kindergartners just knows multiplication, and not just the basic 5s or 10s. In the beginning, when his parents told me I played along with 2 times 2 or 10 times 10, but you can tell him 17 times 14 and he knows it instantly. So cool to watch. I had a student ask for an extension on their paper because they were representing our nation in the World Science Festival. They came in 3rd and the paper was an A+. There's that nerdy kid who built a nuclear reactor in his garage. While he was like a sophomore or junior in high school, he said explicitly in one of his presentations that he made, baked, whatever the hell you call it, yellow cake uranium. He said that meant he was farther than the Iran's entire nuclear team, or whatever you call them. Is that him? When I was a junior in high school, I was building benches and sheds, and I was impressed with myself for learning the solo to Master of Puppets. I taught high school math. One of my freshman students divided 1134 by 63 in his head in less than a second. I let him finish the problem, and then after he arrived at his answer, I asked him, "How did you do that?" He looked at me with this blank stare as he was thinking, "You can't do that?" He proceeded to say, "Well, I doubled 63 and then multiplied that by 10, and then I saw that 1134 was just the difference of those two numbers, so 18. Looked at me like it was nothing. I told him good work and moved on. I'm only above average at a few things, but one of them is mental math. When I saw that this kid could do this calculation that I couldn't, I was so happy. It was one of my happiest moments as a teacher. I didn't help him in that moment, but to know I played a small part in his math education is so great. I was doing a 500-piece puzzle with some kids. Finished the puzzle, except for one piece, which was nowhere to be found. Kid comes in, takes one look at the puzzle on the table, says, "Oh, are you missing that? I know where it is." Reaches into another completely different 500-piece puzzle, rummages for like 10 seconds, pulls the piece out, and fits it in. I asked him how he knew it was there. He said he had done the other puzzle for a bit and noticed it. I asked him how long ago. Christmas, he says? It was February at the time. Kid was maybe 5 at the time. Might be more memory than intelligence, but that was crazy to see. Such a great kid in somewhat dire circumstance. I hope he's gotten all the opportunities he's deserved. Not a teacher, but had a classmate who was and still is a genius. I distinctly remember him asking very complex questions on the current reading literature and making constructive arguments. It was over my head, but our teacher was offended and argued back that he didn't understand anything and /or an overachiever. I think they were over her head as well. She screamed at him and stormed out of class a number of times. There was a time she asked him to leave as well. I never felt so bad for a classmate. He didn't deserve to be yelled at like that. I believe now he's a mathematician with published works and awards, as well as a successful musician. So in my senior year of high school, I decided to drop back down to regular English. It was my strongest class and I knew senoritas was a real thing. Problem was regular English was way too easy for me, so I sat in the back with the troublemakers. When we did Canterbury Tales, my English class required us to write our own version of them. I ended up teaming with 2 stoners. One of them admitted to getting high as fuck and he wrote the entire thing while high. It was perfect. It was in the same poetic form and everything. I just had to add pictures and put it in a PowerPoint. Easiest A ever. The teacher even asked me if my partners had did anything and I told her that I only made the PowerPoint. I was a student teacher at the time completing my education degree. I taught 8th grade. There was this one girl who was your typical edgy, angsty 13-year-old who was too cool for everything. When we went through our poetry unit, we gave a project in which the kids had to write their own free-form poem and put it to some sort of video or slideshow. This girl wrote a poem about how the United States education system, as it is, stifles creativity and destroys students' joy of learning. I always remember this one line from her poem. I learned more from an evening watching Hamilton on stage than an entire year in the United States history class. The video was your typical angsty black and white shots of her friends standing solemnly in front of or behind chain link fences and signs that say, "No trespassing." The next day, she showed up with a gigantic biography of Alexander Hamilton. It was bigger than most Bibles. It only took her a week to read it. My mentor teacher hated her because she thought the student thought she was smarter than everyone else and was arrogant. Maybe she did think that. Maybe she thought we were annoying simpletons. But I just thought she was dope as fuck. This kid didn't particularly like or dislike me, hated my mentor teacher, and disliked anyone except a couple friends. She was sassy, she was smart, she had a finely tuned bullshit meter. She had a huge vocabulary and an obvious love of learning. She'd grill out book after book. And where my mentor teacher saw arrogance in her poem project, I just saw a girl who was desperately bored and was asking for a challenge. I tried my best to give her extra, more challenging options in the future for her assignments. She never said anything to me, but I got the feeling she appreciated it. Or I hope she did. I have a 5-year-old this year who has stolen my wallet more times than I'd like to admit. From my pocket, without me knowing. I now wear a wallet chain like I don't remember what decade it is. He still tries, but he hasn't figured out a workaround. Yet. My son has a fascination with nuclear physics and science. He's collected commonly found radioactive materials that I made him get rid of so the whole house doesn't get cancer. He's researching a way to build a miniature thorium reactor and insists the only reason it doesn't exist now is because people have given up on it. He's 15. My oldest daughter is an incredible artist, but she's got that attitude like her poop doesn't smell bad. She's always made incredible drawings with simple pencils and paper since she was a child. She could capture your likeness in her mind with a glance and draw you out with a piece of standard white typing paper and an office number 2. She's now 18. My youngest daughter watches death metal goats on YouTube. She's about to turn 14. Alright guys, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate all your support, and if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you